Anna, do you have a question for Underage?
Yeah, I was wondering, is it hard to write songs now because, like, there's so much other music going around? Like, does it warp your mind or anything?
Well, we're just starting. I think because there is so much stuff and because our minds are warped, I think that helps us write better. I think it helps us write differently. Like, our songs, our song, well, this song, the words in it are kind of future kind of, what our world is kind of leaning on, and I think because our mind is warped, that's how we can get those ideas. So, if that answers your question at all.
What was more difficult, Laura? Was it laying down the song or making the video?
Laying down the song in the recording studio, it took hours, and we had to do takes over and over and over again, and Jordy was testing out the drum just to get the perfect sound for like hours.
Drummer heaven.
But also,
Oh yeah, right.
the music video, like filming, was a bit difficult because, well, Jordy was actually making a sound, but I couldn't tell whether I was playing the right notes. I had to just pretend that I could hear what I was playing, and so it was like being blind and being deaf. And
is that the way it works for you guys as well?
Did you feel cheap?
You're lip syncing during the video process?
It's really ridiculous process. It's embarrassing. You're acting, right? You're just pretending. You're not actually playing. I mean, drummers can hit the drums, but I mean, even if you do, like sometimes we turn stuff down and really play, but it's still not what people are hearing and watching at the same time.
And that's what you meant by it feeling cheap?
Yeah, it's like you feel like you're trying to fool someone. I mean, everyone knows that you're not really playing, I guess, but it's just, you know,
and why
like her
really
guitar is not
because
plugged in. I mean,
why aren't you really
playing? We do the same thing. It's like I have a microphone with no plug at the end of it. I just figured it's like,
now, but why aren't you really playing?
Well, because you're putting the ultimate track is the one that's on the record. That's what they want. They don't want to hear you playing in a warehouse because they don't think that sounds good, right? Otherwise, you put out a live album. They want the radio track with the pretty visual.
The one that's recorded in the soundproof booth.
And everything sounds cool, and it costs all the money, and they want to make sure that they use it, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna ask, you know, what's the coolest music right now? What's everyone listening to?
Frank Zappa.
the Beatles.
Alternative. Amanda?
Said Pink Floyd.
You're listening to new punk like who?
Well, I don't know, like most people listen to like Rancid and Green Day and stuff like that.
My finger's pointing over here to Amanda. I'm gonna go. Amanda, what are you listening to?
R&B.
R&B?
Yeah.
You like R&B?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Why? It's just my type of music. Like, I like the beats and the music and, like, the lyrics and stuff.
Any inspirations? Any, like, who do you have at home in your...
Well, for sure, Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
And Whitney Houston and R. Kelly. Yeah, R. Kelly. Yeah.
Debbie, who are you listening to?
Oh, anybody. Like, any kind of music I love. I guess mostly alternative.
Yeah.
And I used to love Nirvana and Green Day, you know? I was influenced into it because everybody else was listening to it. So I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll try it out, you know? So I started listening to it, and I was like, yeah. And then later I started getting into, like, different other bands that I didn't know about and that were less popular. So I like those kinds of bands.
A lot of people talk about alternative music. What's alternative music?
Well, I think
Rheostatics.
I think alternative music used to be alternative until it became the in thing, and
now it's mainstream.
Now alternative music is mainstream, but that's kind of like oxymoron-y.
Okay,
It's
so
like different kind of rock music. Like there's punk, there's like
country.
I think
no, not country. It doesn't
alternative used to be just whatever wouldn't fit into the other categories, and now it's got its own category, and people are trying to be alternative, which isn't what it.
But then wouldn't something then become alternative again?
Like, I think what people aren't listening to is alternative.
Bon Jovi's alternative now.
Oh, they went for being popular.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
It used to be one of us foreign to the majority. I mean, people call Oasis alternative when they're just a rock and roll band, but they're from England. And when they released the first album, no one had heard of them, so okay, we'll throw them in the alternative section and we'll just leave them there.
I think alternative, but I still, I mean,
alternative means a choice.
Yeah, alternative is, yeah, and it's a, I think there is something quintessentially that all these bands that everyone's calling alternative do have in common. I mean, there are a lot of fakers that are sort of trying to get their way in there. But just because it sells, and just because it's kind of a good thing, because it means that this alternative attitude and this alternative idea, now the masses are realizing that it's cool. It's like everything. It's like the hippies in the 60s. At first, it wasn't like all the kids dressed like that. It took a long time before they did. And now that they do, I think I just think the backlash is what gets a little ugly, and I think that all the bands that people are still now, Green Day and whatever, and Pearl Jam and even Nirvana, they do have something in common, and it still is a real alternative thing. Just that everyone likes it now might kind of ruin the word. So.
My hand's creeping up because we got a phone call. It's Carolina. Hello, Carolina.
Hi.
Where are you calling from?
Toronto.
Okay, what's your question?
Okay, my question's for Rusty, and I was just wondering, like, how do you feel about being commercialized? I mean, do you think you are? And if you do think you are, and you know you are, how do you feel about it? Like, do you think it totally sucks? Because I probably would if I had a band. Or do you like it and you like to be commercialized?
Carolina, breathe for a second, okay? okay. So Jim, what do you think about what Carolina said?
Commercials? I wouldn't say we're really commercial. I don't know. What do you mean by what's your definition of commercial? What do you mean by that?
Well, like sort of like mainstream. I mean, I know I hear you guys sometimes on the radio, but people like Green Day, you hear like 2-year-olds humming their songs. So I find that totally stupid, and I hate it if someone was humming along my songs that totally were like total losers. So I was just wondering how you feel about it.
Well, chances are that's the way it'll be. I mean, most people that write songs, put out songs, no one hums along to it because they never get a chance to hear them. So I mean, there's a lot of artists that's sort of where they're at, and they don't really want it to be grasped by the masses. But you know what? That's probably a good idea, because they probably won't. I mean, it's so hard to get people to hum along with your songs. It takes so much work to do that. So if you're not into that, then I don't think there's not really a lot of problems with people that write songs and they're like, geez, I wish everyone didn't like us. Because it takes so much work to get to the point where people are going to know who you are.
We're going to have to jump here. Carolina, thanks for your call.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. We need some words of advice. We need some words of advice from you guys really quickly on getting involved in music.
Well, I don't really I just think that you have to like what you're doing, or else you won't be able to do it for long. I think that's important. I think I only know from a band standpoint. I think it's really important to like the guys you play with.
Yeah. 100%.
And to have fun. I mean, it's really, you got to be having fun, and you got to enjoy being with the guys. And
have fun, enjoy it, love it.
Yeah,
it'll be a long time.
And then just let it work.
We're going to give away these CDs, and you can find out more about that by visiting our Off the Hook website. Autographed Rusty Fluke CDs. So visit our website, and you can find out how you can win these fabulous pieces of music. To Underage, thank you very much. Hey, you guys, good luck at the Junos.
Hey.
Okay, it's Rusty and Plato.